Welcome to the Elephant. Today is July 11th, and this is your daily news update. Let's just start off with the Texas floods. Some things that we should know first to get an understanding of these Texas floods is one, the Guadalupe River rose 26 feet within an hour. Flood hit during the night of July 4th. So July 4th that night, and then carried on to the morning of July 5th. So some areas received over 20 inches of rain. Kerr County was a high impact zone, as you can see by this image right here. Camp Mystic was kind of around that Kerr County area. And this is the Guadalupe River right here. And it says victims were staying in lower level cabins. So if you can tell here, Camp Mystic is in the red. And it says that cabins were right here. They were right next, I would say probably less than a mile away from Guadalupe River. So when it rose 26 feet within the hour, definitely hit those low altitude areas right there where they were staying. More than 120 people are dead. Still 160 people are still missing. But luckily, 525 have been reported as being recovered. There were flood warnings prior. It's not letting me show them. From what I recall, there were flood warnings on July 3rd, so a day before July 4th, which when the actual Guadalupe River flooded over and it caused all this mass destruction. There were flood warnings July 3rd around 1:30 to 2 o'clock from the local weather station, but a lot of people underestimated how bad this Texas flood was going to be because there is a frequent notion of there's always going to be a flooding chance in this area around Kerrville and around kind of this Guadalupe River, especially if it rains enough. Like there is a similar thing that happened in around 1986, 1987 with other similar campers around this area too. And the river got flooded and multiple girls went missing and ended up being found, like their bodies and stuff. It's creepy, but there's just kind of parallels right there. A lot of people have been getting still flood warnings coming through their systems, but a lot of people just kind of underestimated that, especially on the July 4th. A lot of people are at the lake, by the water, they're trying to hang out with their friends, family. And at July 4th, around 12 a.m., when this flooding kind of occurred, and so I can see the notion of seeing that alarm and kind of underestimating and not really taking it for a grain, just kind of taking it for a grain of salt. It says liberals blame climate change. A lot of this Camp Mystic stuff or this Guadalupe River flooding stuff is coming from liberals, like the criticism behind this. So a lot of the right or the Republicans are mourning, all the girls that, all the lives that have been lost, all the girls that died. The only criticism that's negative right now is coming from the liberals, blaming this all on climate change, and honestly, kind of sometimes even disregarding all the people who have died and all the lives that were lost and people still missing, and blaming these white Christian folks kind of in Texas that they are racists, and if this was happening to Hispanics, or if this was happening to Hispanics, we wouldn't be saving them. We would be like, oh, this isn't a big deal. So they're calling these people whose girls have been lost because of the tragedy, they're calling them racist. On top of that, liberals are also trying to blame climate change and like the weather station and Trump, like not like this whole like right agenda of like it's a whole like left agenda and this whole left ideology of saying that anything that has to do with any flooding isn't because of actual human fault in regards to false alarms to the weather stations to keeping up with stuff. It comes from climate change. And there's this crazy thing of like people always make a joke of is a weatherman right today or anything about how inconsistent weathermen can report. And when you see that, you don't see them blaming climate change. But when something like this happens where just a little bit of like a misstep in the wrong direction kind of goes to this kind of a thing, people are quick, especially the liberals, are quick to judge climate change and things that like the weather and just natural tragedy occurring. They tend to blame it on things that they tend to blame it on us or tend to blame it on people even though it was just tragedy. And I'm not saying that a lot of lives would have been lost, even with, um, you know, us taking a step back and kind of looking at this and doing stuff. But I will say the flood still would have occurred, but less lives would have been lost. That's where the human element comes into it. The human element does not come into a you're Aquaman, you can make this water move, you can make this flooding occur. That's kind of where that liberal ideology of we control climate change. We do not control any of this flooding. They think that climate change is causing all these mass destructions. I hate to tell them, but this has just been happening a long time. The only human fault on our part is just getting these people out of that area. So, and then some of the X updates and posts. So as we can see here, here's just a short clip of how quickly this rain came in. In like the span of 50 minutes, it went from, do you see these people right here? Just keep an eye on the set of people. The flooding went from this, like the water went from this to look at this. Now it's almost 1800, which means it would be 6 o'clock in the evening. Look at that. That's crazy. Just it started off like that, and in a span of 50 minutes, that's how fast people had to evacuate, which um is literally no time at all, especially in the middle of the night with minimal weather stuff. This guy right here is a hero. He saved 165 victims on his first day on duty. So there are some good things that are coming out of it, hero stories, just like some beautiful elements if we choose to look at that instead of all the tragedy. These are all the girls being saved from Camp Mystic or surrounding areas. My guess is just all Camp Mystic campers who were evacuated safely. It says one of the most powerful photos from the Texas flood disaster. Things that first responders see aren't fathomable to the general public. A lot of these first responders, I would say a decent majority of them, are actually just like volunteer firemen or volunteer um, emergency aides or whatever they're called, because of like these rural areas and that like the sense of flooding happens so kind of like nobody like without any warning. These kind of volunteer people had to come in and try to save these lives and all these like people who were drowning. And so I can tell that like huge props to them. Climate change caused the Texas floods that killed at least 27 people, say the media. No, it didn't. The lack of flood warning system did. We've been managing the floods for millennia. The deaths from them declined 80% in the last 100 years. Climate reporters are trapped in a weird cult. If we look at some of the breakdown from ChatGPT, we can understand that all these are the statistics. I already said all that stuff. It says the warnings of failure, flash flood watches and warnings were issued on July 4th, but rainfall exceeded forecasts drastically. Floodwaters hit after midnight when people were sleeping. Poor cell service, lack of sirens, and limited alert systems meant many were received with no warning. Some areas got floods alerts after the water had already arrived. So yeah, that is the Texas flood for you. There is that area around Camp Mystic, and this is Kerr County right there in that little dot. This right here is just some images of the Guadalupe River. Okay, so next I wanna talk about the new Daily Wire host real quick. Her name is Isabel Brown. Don't know much about her. She has amassed over 1 million followers on Instagram. So far from what I've collected, she's a theater kid, she's a book lover and Star Wars fan. Her X profile shows a lot of like pop culture, a lot of like Christian, like Catholic kind of content she's gonna be posting is a lot of just pop culture. My guess is promoting like pro-life, Christian values, going back to the basics, kind of what we need. Nice, refreshing thing. Um, see here, Isabel Brown, Daily Wire. She's not a Brett 2.0. She's more like a policy-minded faith Gen Z big sister. Brett is more entertainment first. Isabel is faith-based. We won't truly know that until she starts doing her shows. My guess is that, of course, like Brett Cooper has her, shtick. Isabel Brown's gonna have her shtick. I feel like if you like the content that Brett Cooper liked, you're gonna like Isabel's content. And I don't know, I just like something to keep out on the look for. And when she posts her first video on the Daily Wire, I'm gonna be sure to check it out and report on it and come back to this. So just something to keep in mind. Gonna be exciting. We need more girls in the kind of political news space and not just like crazy liberals. We need less crazy liberal women. We need more like moderate, just down to earth, practical minded women. So yeah. Last thing I want to talk about is Alligator Alcatraz. Pretty controversial. If you hear about it, you kind of get one side says inhumane, or here's a criticism, it's inhumane, it's spectacle, it's legal overreach, it's a Nazi concentration camp. The support is coming from like Republicans who are saying this is all for illegal immigrants who have come here with um and done the country no good. They've killed innocent people. They are like drug dealers or the cartel, MS-13 gang members, that type of thing. And so let's just like go into some of these facts real quick. It says location is in the remote Everglades airstrip, swampy perimeter. If you can see right here, this is like the Everglades, and this is just all the swamp. This is where the actual thing is located. See that single road right there? If you can see this, I'll zoom in and we can just see that single road right there. It's a one-way road in and out. It says the capacity is 5,000 illegal immigrants. The funding is $450 a year to maintain it. You got cameras, wire, AC, lights, natural wildlife deterrent. That's what makes it low cost, is because they don't have to do anything with the perimeter. A lot of like high security jails you'll find are either like in the middle of the water or middle of nowhere. Just so let's say they escape, you're not going to be surrounded by like normal everyday people where they can just go out and murder them or do whatever. They have to find a way to not only escape this high security prison, but they have to find a way to get out of this area. So that just not only makes them more effective for these like high crime men and women, but this also makes it easier and more cost effective for us. It says the controversy is environmental damage, legal access, and health conditions. And what I have to counteract with that is just some of the things I found on X. So as you can see here, just what is it? It's a new immigration detention facility. It's kind of in an airport within the Big Cypress National Reserve, Everglades in Florida. It's about 50 miles west of Miami. It says like it's punishment because it's surrounded by alligators, obviously. Initially built for 5,000 beds. It was made in 8 days. Includes 200 cameras, 28,000 barbed wire, 400 plus staff, constant lighting and air conditioning. It says lawmakers and claim detainees face extreme heat, mosquito-borne viruses, flooding, hurricane risk. There's no legal oversight, and there's like scarce food and water. People are scared about their human rights. But what I have to say to that is that these are criminal illegal aliens. Not only did they break the law of coming into the country illegally, but they have killed people, they have dealt illegal drugs, they have done a lot to damage America, and I can tell that they are not proud to be here if they don't respect where we live. It says, I don't want to hear a single word or see another outrage post from a Democrat about Alligator Alcatraz. These are the same people who turned a blind eye when Obama built the cages for illegals and Biden continued using them as his own presidency. So these are the Obama cages. And then, so this is the Obama cages right here. They're all sleeping on the floor. These like stiff mattresses, foil. This is Trump's Alligator Alcatraz. Look at that. Bunk beds, like all perfectly made, air conditioning, lighting 24/7. It says Alligator Alcatraz is what dreams are made of. It's astounding that lip-syncing Alligator Alcatraz is cruel and inhumane, but leaving rapists and murderers on our streets to kill Americans is not. These people are mentally unstable. The first people in line to come to these are not your just everyday, hardworking, illegal immigrants. These are people who came to our country illegally and have killed innocent, right to be here citizens, American citizens, and they are committed felons. They are just downright not good people. So